There's a lot of emotion tied up in the work that we do.
I'm responsible for the largest bill on the farm.
It can be a very tough profession.
The interesting thing is I did not grow up on a farm. I have family members that farm, but my parents were not farmers. But I had several uncles that farmed, and it seemed like I always enjoyed my time on the farm, and I knew agriculture was my calling. I knew it was my passion.
I guess my interest kind of got sparked growing up on our family farm. We raised beef cattle and cash cropped.
We farm on the side a few acres, some hogs, some beef cattle we always have raised, and since I've been real little.
I grew up with horses, so that was my lifelong passion. I still train horses and compete. I didn't specifically always want to be a veterinarian, but ultimately found a mentor, a veterinarian who I respected, who was helping me with some of my performance horses, and then that blossomed into, hey, I think that's something I could do.
Well, nutrition is a varied career, that's for sure. So every day is a little different, and every customer is different that we work with.
Most of our day-to-day really depends on the time of the year. So as we get into the spring season here, a lot of our start to the day would be going out looking at fields, seeing what has to be sprayed, spread with fertilizer.
When I was in high school, I was talking to my FFA advisor, Jeff Griffey, and he said, you know, if you like agriculture and you like education, why don't you merge the two and go to be an agriculture teacher?
One thing with agronomy is you're going to learn a lot of what you need to know within the role and the trainings that you go to.
So for sure, in today's market, you at least need a bachelor's degree. It can be in animal sciences, dairy sciences, and then, be honest with you, it's a lot of learning on the job.
The minimum requirement schooling-wise would be a 2-year degree from a tech school or something like that.
There's a big calling for large animal veterinarians in particular, and then certainly for horse veterinarians, yes, there's a shortage of all large animal veterinarians right now. The quickest you can do it after high school is 6 years.
Really, to get into either a high school, you really just need a 4-year agriculture education degree.
It wipes you out. You spend a lot of time trying to get into vet school, and then you spend the whole 4 years trying to get out. So it's tough. But yes, so when you go to vet school, you have to learn everything. You learn all the species. My wife asked me about our dogs, and we take our dog to the veterinarian. I'm not my dog's vet.
It's probably the hardest is just the long hours that we have to put in, but at the end it's all worth it when you see the smile on that student's face. And you know, some of those students, it's the first time in that equipment, and that is just an awesome experience to be able to give that to them.
Tough part of my job is just getting farmers through these last couple of years has been really difficult because feed prices have been fluctuating. Forage inventory hasn't been the best on most farms. Certainly let's not talk about 2019 where it was just a disaster out in the field.
Some of the most difficult parts of the job is when we have some of those errors or something doesn't perform like we were expecting. Our customers' livelihood relies on the recommendations, and if we don't make them successful, we're kind of failing to do our job.
Actually, a lot of people don't know this, but veterinary medicine, veterinarians have the highest suicide rate, and it's due in large part to what they call compassion fatigue, and that is losing our patients. Veterinarians are under very high debt load. It costs a lot to go to school, you know, having to euthanize, or people sometimes can't afford to save them even if you could. So it can be very, very tough. And so there's a lot of programs out there to help veterinarians so that we don't lose them. We just lost a veterinarian to suicide at the University in Madison. Winters are a little brutal, as everybody who grew up here or lives here knows, but you get to spend time out doing things you like with these majestic horses who are nothing but wanting your help. There's a lot of feel good to it.
When I was young, I remember a comment someone made, and they said, if you die with all your knowledge and never pass it on, it's useless knowledge.
My favorite part of the job is probably just being outside, working with the growers and seeing their successes. We do have some failures, but I think we often learn a lot from them.
You know, my favorite part about the job is that nutrition's a combination. I would say the nutrition is, being a nutritionist is a combination of 3 different things. You need to work with animals and be able to read animals, and I enjoy that immensely. I've always loved working with animals, I still do. And then it's the combination of science, and I love science, I love learning. There's always something new in the feed world, in the ag world. You know, the weather dictates so much. There's always something new going on in the fields. So it's a good combination of those. And then the last part is working with people.
You know, I would look at first, you know, getting into an agricultural school and starting to take some of those classes maybe pertaining to, you know, crops and soils.
Find mentors. You know, when I was a kid, they didn't really have mentorship programs. They didn't really talk about that like they do now. And now we have a lot of opportunity where you can go and visit with people and really find out what you want to do.
On-farm experience will get you very far in any career in ag.
Many people think agriculture is cows, sows, and plows, and that really the only jobs are working in the barn or driving tractors, and that's really far from the truth of what we actually do. There's a lot of careers where you may never step foot in a barn, or you may not drive tractors, and so there's opportunities as a veterinarian, as an educator like I am, as an agronomist, somebody that goes out and looks at fields and works with farmers and tries to improve on their agronomic techniques that they're utilizing. And then there are jobs that are on the farm too, working with cattle. You know, I can help carve those students into what they want to be.
Even if a farm's doing really well, there's always something we can do better. Same in our personal lives. Even if things are going well, there's always something we can do better.
At the end of the day, it's very rewarding.